Hello! Please allow me to start this video by apologizing for the audio quality. Because of the room that I'm in, the echo chamber effect is obviously distorting the audio, which is a shame because this is actually a really good camera. It's confusing. I'm not using my usual camera, I'm actually using a webcam, and the quality of the video should be reflected thusly, considering that it is supposed to be a 1080p HD webcam. Logitech makes some good peripherals at times. But I've already tested the video once or twice and found that I get better audio quality with my headset rather than the camera itself. But it would be silly for me to have a headset on when recording a video like this. Normally these kinds of videos do not require headgear, or include headgear, I should say, when making them. So as wacky as it is, you're going to have to bear with me and my horrible audio. I am currently sitting in front of my computer as per usual. My Mac is open here because I'm actually transferring some work-related photos and videos from my work phone to attach to an email that eventually I'll have to send. Why am I creating this video? The last video that I posted, that I had stated very clearly, the reason why I don't make these is because I have nothing that happens in my life. And this is still true. Nothing has happened in my life, except for the fact that over the last few days, I have been, though not discernible in my current state, miserable, or very unhappy, I should say. Starting from about Friday afternoon onwards. So basically what happened is, on Friday, I was sent over to a district that I normally don't work in to set up a classroom. And it is that time of the year in the tax season, though technically the tax season's over, but the tax season in relation to the offices and their functionality rather than the way that they serve the customers. But the season of these tax stores is that some of them get converted into classrooms so that next year's tax pros will have the training that they need and be able to serve the customers accordingly. So what I end up doing is I go into a store and a bunch of computers and monitors and stuff are dropped off there, and I set them up. I set up the office and I make sure the computer's on the network and get all the computers imaged appropriately and yada yada yada. It's really fancy talk for doing something that's relatively simple. Anyway, so what happened is that I had gone out to this location, and I was under the impression that everything that I was going to need was on site, because that's normally how it works. When I get dispatched to a location, the computers and stuff have already been moved there, and my job is to set them up and get them going. So I was going to this location to get the key for the office that I needed to work on and go. But when I got there, I was informed that nothing was there, that all the stuff was sitting in the back room, that there were computers on the tables and boxes of cables in the back, and apparently this doc, which is the district office coordinator, I think that's what DOC stands for. Each district or each region or area has a DOC, and they handle, all the stores of that district, of that area. Well, apparently this DOC was under the impression that I was going to pack all the stuff up and put it in my car, I guess. I don't know why, but from what I understand, actually that's not true. I do know why. Is because certain field service techs have trucks, or have vans, or have SUVs, or have cars where they can just stuff stuff in and take it with them, even though moving the computers from point A to point B is the responsibility of a completely different person. The CM, which is, I forget what the CM stands for, or CS or CM, I can't remember. But their job is to do things like that, is to move stuff around. But it's changed since the head of my department, the guy who was in charge of my department, has left, and a lady has taken his place. Since she's moved in, she's basically changed, or the expectations have changed as to what field service techs are supposed to do, which is confusing to me, because I didn't have a conversation or a conference or sit down to discuss the fact that my responsibilities and job description was going to change, or discuss, payment differential for the extra work that I was now doing. None of that had happened. But apparently that's been coming more and more regularly, and I keep bitching about it and going, it's not my job. When I signed on, this is what I was told my job is. Now this is being sprung on me. You know, and it is somebody else's job. And now that that job is becoming mine, am I going to get paid extra? No, of course not. Anyway, I'm diverging from the point of this video and going into part of the reason why I'm making the video. Anyway, so I get to the location and I talk to the doc, and she has a computer there, and she asks me if I can take it. I'm like, no, I drive a Prius. My Prius is full of crap right now. I've got boxes and containers and cables and all kinds of shit. My car is a mess because it's full of work-related shit. So no, I can't bring that stuff over. And so she said, okay, well, we'll get it over there. That's fine. And so I discussed with her what was going to happen, and I explained to her what needed to be done, and I explained to her what it is that I was requiring, and I thought that I had communicated that clearly. I thought that I made that clear by explaining what it is that I was going to do, what it is that I needed, and where, you know, things that would be required to be on site. And then her CS or CM guy showed up, and he was there part of the conversation. So after that was done, I said, okay, I'll see you there, and I left. Well, apparently, this was frowned upon by them because they wanted to know why I didn't help them load up the truck, which is not my fucking job. But regardless, it would have been probably the polite thing to do to stick around rather than go to the site and take a look at it. And like I told her I was going to do, was go to the site, take a look, and let her know what was needed, which is what I specifically said. Anyway, so I get to the location, I look around, I see how it's set up. I see what it needs, and I give her a call and tell her here's what's going on, and she's let me know that the guy showed up. So the guy shows up, and this guy's like, I don't know, 50 or 60, just some trucker-looking dude. Lets me know that he's here, and he's got an attitude for whatever reason. He gets into the place and lets me know he's here, and I asked him, I said, okay, well, there were many 760s. The 760 is the model on the computer, and they have these versions of them, which are literally like little boxes about this big. They're about that big. They're mini computers, but they function exactly the same as a regular desktop version, a regular tower. And so I asked him, I said, you know, did you get those? And I said, okay. And also there were some 760s. Did you grab those as well? And he looks at me like I don't know what I'm talking about. He just blankly stares at me. And I said, the 760 is the larger computer. And he goes, oh, I know what they are. Would have helped if you fucking responded to me when I asked you the fucking question. So I said, okay, well, that's why I was asking. And he said, oh, you weren't asking, you were telling me. I said, okay. Anyway, so I just blew it off. And he just stood there. And I said, okay, so I guess I'm going to unload the truck. All right. So I go out to the back of his pickup truck. I start carrying stuff in, and he just stands there with his arms crossed, watching me fucking carry stuff out with a fucking attitude. And I'm like, okay. So I just pick stuff up, and I ask him like one or two more questions about stuff. And then as soon as I get everything off his truck and brought back into the office, he approaches me and starts to tell me and basically bark at me. Well, I just want to tell you that I don't appreciate the way that you talk to those ladies. And I said, dude, you're not my boss. Well, I don't care. And he basically went off on me and proceeded to tell me how he did. And I was like, look, dude, this isn't my job. That's not how it works. Oh, don't tell me. I've worked with this company for years. And he barks at me. So I bark back. You know, the last time I had somebody bark at me and they got in my face, rather than responding, I went to their boss. And you know what happened? Nothing. What happened was I said, here's the situation. Here's this employee of yours giving me attitude for no fucking reason. I don't appreciate it. I'm not going to work in this environment if this is the kind of thing I'm going to have to. And guess what? I'm still sent back to the office, even though I made it clear that I will not work on site if he's there, because I do not want to get into a confrontation with this employee, because I don't want to lose my job and I don't want things to escalate into a negative space. Even though I've made that clear a bunch of times, the guy who's the district manager of that area ignores it and just sends me there anyway. Even though I completely, repeatedly, emails and phone calls said, I do not want to work at this location if this employee is on site. Anyway, so he barks at me, and I bark back. And at the end of the thing, I said, look, man, if you want, I will call because the outline of his complaint was that he felt I was disrespectful to the doc and the lady that was there. He felt that the way that I talked to them and the way that I dealt with them was inappropriate and disrespectful. And I said, look, dude, if it'll make you happy, I'm more than happy to call them and apologize. It was not my intention to make them feel inadequate or inappropriate or uncomfortable in any way. That was not my intention. I'm more than happy to call them and tell them I'm sorry. And that basically that soothed the savage beast that was this dude. Well, I'd appreciate if you did that, and I'd be more than, I'll apologize to you for this exchange. If you're willing to call them and apologize to them, yeah, that's fine, dude. I'll do it right now. You can watch me pick up the phone and call. Oh, no, you look like a trustworthy guy, so I'll trust that you'll do that. So he goes. I called the lady, let her know that he arrived, let her know that this stuff was here, what was missing, what wasn't there. And then I said, and secondly, I wanted to apologize for making you feel, if I behaved in a manner that you felt was inappropriate or in some way made you uncomfortable. That was not my intention. My focus was to get this job done, and that's where my head was when I was dealing with everything. I did not mean in any way to make you feel that what you were doing was wrong, or that I did something that was inappropriate, or that made you uncomfortable. That is not how I work. That is not, I don't need to have that bad relationship with you. And she said, oh, no, it's okay. It was just that, you didn't, load the truck when he was here, and there was that. And I said, okay, well, I apologize for that. It won't happen again. And that was the end of the conversation. So about 20 minutes in, I decide I should probably call my boss directly and let her know that this had happened, that this exchange occurred, so that she was in the loop. She knew what happened. I was very upfront with it. And the first thing that she says to me when I mention this to her is like, well, is that how you deal with situations at other jobs that you've had? Where somebody barks at you, you bark back? And at the time, I was like, my response was, well, let me finish what I was saying to let you know that I did resolve the issue. But to answer the question that as I thought about it, the answer is, yeah, anytime I've ever been in a work situation where somebody has talked to me inappropriately, I've responded accordingly. When I go to a work situation and somebody does that, and I go to the powers that be and nothing gets done, my response from that point forward is, this is how I'm going to respond, considering that when I took the appropriate channels, nothing got resolved. Nothing was fixed. I still had this circumstance. It happened again. Management was informed. Management didn't take care of the problem. And as you can see, I'm getting irritated because the thought of the situation irritates me. But that's still not the reason why I've been miserable. So as I thought about the situation, as the day progressed, and I set up the computers, and I called the doc a couple more times to let her know what was going on and give her information, and I was uncomfortable. I was uncomfortable because I was put in a situation where I may have acted inappropriately, even though I didn't recognize that I had, or I didn't think that I had. And I had this conflict with this guy who I didn't know, who felt justified in getting in my face. Like literally, he was probably about that far away from me, and on the other, well, no, maybe that far away from me, because he was on the other side of on the back of the pickup truck with the door was down. He was on the other side of it, and I was sort of in the middle of it. So yeah, I'd say he's about that far away. And he walked forward to get even closer to me when we were having our exchange. But so I was thinking about the fact that this irritated me, that I have so many different things that pop up regularly. And when I say so many, I'm not exaggerating. It seems like every day that I go to work, something irritates me. And that seems to be a constant common theme for me when I'm at work, is that I'm irritated by stuff. And I don't understand why. I don't understand why so many things make me so irritated all the fucking time. This job is not a bad job. I deal with stupid regularly, with different things, but still, I don't understand why I get so irritated. So what I did was, after having a conversation with my boss, where I talked to her and I had this thing, and I said, hey, let me finish, and I called her and I told her and I apologized and I made sure, and she said, well, thank you for doing that, and I said, okay. And then I said to her, I was like, what I don't understand is, why does this keep happening? Why is it that I show up at a place and I'm expected to do something that's not normally part of my job? I don't understand why this keeps happening. Why is it, and we went back and forth. And it came down to, well, Zach, who used to be the head of my department, is no longer that. And when he was there, things were done a certain way. And now that this new person is in charge of the department, things are being done a different way. And that's why when I started off at the beginning of the video, I was like, okay, well, you know what? I didn't have a fucking meeting. Nobody sat down with me, and we didn't discuss the changes of the position that I'm working and how I'm going to be compensated for that difference of work, or, and all that stuff. Nothing of that was discussed. Also, and she's like, well, you should probably empty out your car so that you could be more applicable, more amiable, excuse me, not applicable, but amiable to these people in situations, be more helpful. And my whole thought is, They get paid to do this job, and now I'm being told I have to do it, and they're still going to collect the fucking paycheck? So that's sort of where my head is with that dumb shit. But that is, once again, not the main point of this thing. So after a few minutes, about 20 minutes of me after I was on the phone with her and I did what I was going to do, I sat down and I wrote out an email to my boss apologizing. Said, look, I know that I bark and stuff, and I just want to let you know that I'm aware of the fact that I can be an insufferable ass sometimes, and I'm sorry for that. I want you to know I think you're one of the best bosses I've ever had, and I'm going to try to do everything in my power to not have this come up again and not have this be a regular occurrence with us, because I know it must be a headache for you, and I'm sorry for that. And she hasn't responded to that email, so whether or not, I don't know if she's going to, I don't know if she fucking read it, I have no idea. But yeah, I've just been miserable the last couple of days. Like it's in the back of my head with this thing about why is it that I'm always fucking so angry about when I'm at work. I'm not angry like throwing shit around, but I get irritated so easily over stupid shit. And I don't know why. I could justify my behavior, as you've seen, where I've gone off about how it's not my job and da 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 da. And I feel justified when I'm saying that stuff. My anger feels justified when I'm saying that stuff. But at the end of the day, I'm still angry about work. So that's where my head is right now, and I'm just really unhappy. I'm not playing video games. I'm not fucking interacting with people. I feel like I'm dying. I've been so, I guess after years and years and years of being alone, it's starting to wear down on me, which is really kind of interesting considering that I've done this for so long. And I've said this before. I know I have. I've said it in videos before, where I will be miserable for a period of time and then it'll go away and I'll go back to feeling like nothing. And I think I'm just flowing into another one of those periods where I'm feeling miserable about being alone. And I guess, and the negative is not about being alone. It's about how it's affecting the way that I think and feel. My disconnect to humanity, as much as I feel that that's a viable and necessary thing, because humanity in most cases is not worth being involved with. Still, I think that I am my own echo chamber. Where I'm pursuing things that I see as reality, and that's not a healthy way to build a solid understanding of the world around you. If you only surround yourself with things that you feel is real. You feel, and when I say real, I don't mean like tangible real. I mean real as in, if you are a Republican and you feel that poor people are, a burden and that they should get up and pull themselves up by their bootstraps and get a job. If that's your perspective and you surround yourself with like-minded people with a like-minded perspective and a like-minded set of sensibilities and whatnot, then you are not doing anything to test that theory, to verify it or to invalidate it. What you're doing is you're just feeding your own bullshit. And that's how most people behave. Most people will surround themselves or seek out things that verify their way of life, or verify their perspective. And in most cases, that makes sense. It's sensible and it's healthy. You think murder is bad, doesn't mean you should run out and hang out with a bunch of murderers to find out if murder really is bad. That's not what I mean. But I mean, in order to grow as a human being, in order to grow as a person, in order to feed yourself spiritually, you have to give yourself fodder. You got to give yourself something to test those beliefs on, and over and over again. You can't just take one thing as proof and say, oh, there it is. That's the end of it. If it is real to you and it is the world as you understand it, then going out and testing it will either A, break it down, or B, make it stronger. And that's exactly what people should do in order to grow as beings, is to take those experiences or have those experiences. But I've had enough experiences in my life about interacting with people that have verified exactly what I believe about people in general. And every time I go back out there, it's the same experience over and over again, and it takes a different shade, it has a different flavor, but the substance is pretty much the same. And so that's after years and years and years of doing that, I've sort of shied away from it. But for the last decade, roughly, I have squirreled myself away, and it keeps coming back, and I feel horrible. I feel like I'm dying. And spiritually, I've been feeling that way for years. I feel empty and pointless. So yeah, that's where I'm at right now. This is 20 minutes of a video, but fuck it, whatever. Anyway, so that's where my head is. That's why I made this video. That's the reason why I thought that I needed to record this, just because I had to get it out and whatnot. I hope everybody else is doing well. I hope you're all having a good day and that you're not as miserable as me. And I guess I will see you all later.